Time now on WATD to check in with Dr. John Hayes. He joins us in studio every week at this time. For a better experience at the doctor's office, try Dr. John Hayes' new highly personalized and affordable direct primary care practice. Find out more at drjohnhayesjr.com, drjohnhayesjr.com. And Dr. John Hayes is in the studio this morning. Dr. John, good morning.
Hey, Rob, good morning.
Good to see you. And
same here.
This topic is an important one as we every week highlight new things. And we haven't really touched on this yet, so this will be a great topic to bring up. Dangers of vaping is what we want to get into.
Yes, and I can tell you already, based upon the publication of this article on Monday, it's probably not going to be popular with a lot of people, but extremely important. Extremely important.
All right. Well, let's get into the vaping, and I guess to kind of just break it down for us to what can happen, because I guess there are some people that are confused about vaping.
Yeah, I mean, so the basic thing is this: human beings should not be smoking anything, period. That's it. That includes cannabis. I know that's not popular at all, but if you're using any cannabis product, it should not be smoked, plain and simple.
Yeah, I always wonder, it's still going to the same place.
It's going to the same place. There's still inherent dangers for all the chemicals that are inhaled. There's also now, with cannabis usage, a higher incidence of heart disease and other things that you'll see coming down the pike in research. But we can talk about, and we will talk about that further. But the issue with vaping, Rob, is that there's a couple of things. Number one, you're using a plastic device, and we've spoken before about the dangers of plastics.
Oh, yeah, that's
When plastic gets heated, some of these substances get dispersed as well, some of these chemicals. The other thing that happens, depending upon the product that's being vaped, is, let's say if it's a nicotine product, sometimes the dosage of nicotine can be particularly high. It can cause immediate cardiac issues and potential other issues. And then one of the major issues with vaping, depending upon the product that's vaped, or the preservatives and other things, even something as benign as vitamin E, which was once added to vaping products, I don't think it is like it was before, turns out to be very, very toxic to the lungs when it's inhaled. And these are all things that we don't talk about. Right before COVID hit, this was like the big thing in the medical news, and then it just disappeared.
Yeah, you're right. We were getting into that.
Exactly.
And it certainly has seen now. I mean, this is what I guess I'm sure you've noticed just by going around, that the good news is it does seem that people are not smoking as much. It seems like I feel like outside of malls and restaurants, I'm not seeing as many people, but I'm wondering if these people that have liked that before are now just vaping and you don't see it as much, because sometimes they're vaping in places I don't even think you're supposed to be vaping. Yeah,
I mean, that's a fact. There's no question about it. But one thing is we don't really talk about the dangers of this stuff. You're talking about something that's potentially very, very lethal.
Yeah, and so there are short-term effects, as you mentioned, with heartbeat and chest pain, but there are also long-term risks. And some of this stuff, since I feel like this is fairly new, we're going to be, as you said, coming down many years that you may have developing, right?
Look, the reality is that this is a very profitable product, makes people a lot of money. Same with cannabis sales, no question at all. Makes the state a lot of money on cannabis sales for sure. So that's another whole issue. So you're not going to see anybody probably spreading this broadcast except for our loyal listeners. But the issue is, look, with regard to vaping, a lot of it depends upon the substance, but there is no safe way to vape anything, period. With regard to nicotine, of course, one of the long-term risks is addiction. Secondly is development of lung disease, and yes, you can develop popcorn lung.
Explain what that is.
Yeah, so popcorn lung is a deformity that can happen in the lungs. It's not just due to vaping. It's due to other types of lung injuries. And people have gone back and forth. When we posted this first this week, some people on social media say, no, you can't get popcorn lung from vaping. And yet, if you do the research and you even look at the American Lung Association 2024 article, you can, in fact, get popcorn lung, which is significant damage to the lungs from cigarette smoking. From vaping as well. So it's something you need to be aware of. And like we talked about earlier with regard to cannabis smoking anything does increase our risk of heart disease. It also increases our risk of cancer because, look, there's a lot of other stuff you're inhaling. So you could be using an inhaler and told, it's all natural. I've heard this from patients before. Well, cannabis is all natural. It can't hurt me. Well, and respectfully, I like to tell patients, well, cyanide's natural. arsenic's natural,
there's a lot of
lead's natural, cadmium's natural, cobalt's natural, but they can all kill us.
Yeah.
So just the fact that it's natural doesn't necessarily mean it's safe.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, it really is, and it's not something that we talk about enough. But it's just really important to stress, and I try to use that explanation because I think it does strike home with a lot of people.
Now, are you hearing? I mean, I've been wondering. As you said, I know this was originally one of the lawsuits, and I know some companies had to not have flavors because they were targeting younger people, right, and trying to get them, like, I don't know, watermelon or something, but all these flavors that are somehow they're flavored, but they're still addictive.
Exactly. Flavored and just pitched is harmless.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
And are you here? I was always wondering, because I'm just wondering if parents today, is this what you're dealing with? And then how hard is it to know if the kids are vaping as opposed to, maybe you could smell something in the bathroom or something like that?
Yeah, I could probably the most important thing is to just continue frank, open relationships with our children.
Have the conversations.
Absolutely. Have the conversations, especially in adolescence for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of societal pressure. I get it. I get it completely.
Yeah. I know some schools I think there are devices now that they can put in bathrooms to help try to detect the vaping products. Because obviously they do need to step in and do something about, you don't want, the kids, continuing this on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, we need to all know about the realities of what this stuff is. There are risks. It's not like they're without risks. Yeah. That's the whole issue.
All right. So what if someone says, Dr. John Hayes, I wanted to quit smoking, so now I'm doing vaping. Can I use that for a little bit until I need to,
I just had the conversation yesterday. Had a discussion with my wife about this morning with regard to.
Because I imagine that's what some people come in and ask. I see that written a lot.
Right, exactly. It does happen, and I tell people all the time, nicotine replacement under physician supervision is probably one of the best things you can do.
Okay,
for sure.
Sure. And what does that entail?
So there's a number of different things. Patch replacement.
Oh yeah.
I'm also a big fan of gum because it's easy to adjust the dosage and that type of thing. But there are other things to understand, too. The other issue, while we're talking about nicotine, is, nicotine has very powerful effects in the brain, and they're not all negative. And some people really benefit from substances like nicotine, but there are replacements that are far healthier that people can use that can help them feel a whole lot better. It's just really important to understand that. People crave nicotine for a reason. People with mental illnesses oftentimes crave nicotine for a reason because it literally makes them feel better. But the cost of doing it is, plain and simple, early death more than likely.
Yeah. There are other things, there are options, and as you're saying, it's never too late to give it up. And we know that obviously we don't want kids to be hooked to this, but we know that there are many adults that seem to be utilizing this as well. You can certainly notice it. I've certainly seen very large clouds coming out of windows of cars, and you can see them going around. It's like, what is that? And it's usually these devices. There's a lot of vape going around.
There's too much.
Yeah.
Too much. So, absolutely.
All right. So talk to your doctor and the kids. Have the conversation with the kids. Tell them about that. And you want to find out more, talk to your doctor about it. And as you said, don't let people that are just there to do marketing and try to make money off you, don't let them fool you. So as you said, when you see that word, we'll throw it around, natural or something like that.
Exactly. Yep. The big takeaway.
All right. Read the blog, drjohnhayesjr.com, drjohnhayesjr.com. Dangers of Vaping. That's the new blog. You'll see it up there. A lot of other information as well. His office is located in Marshfield. And I think I saw just a little photo of Dr. John Hayes putting up a photo of his office the other day. I saw it. It looked good.
Thank you.
781-659-7989. You want to call or text that number, 781-659-7989. Dr. John Hayes, Jr. He's with us every week at this time, living and practicing by design. Thank you, Doctor.
Thanks, Rob.